of our daily struggles. A weekly show that features people and stories from all walks of life.
I probably don't look like I chopped cotton or picked cotton, but I did. And now what is a $500,000 probably home, up to $500,000 home.
You'll hear success stories from rags to riches that will inspire you to aspire to be great. Be the first to know, only on LSTV1.
Hello viewers, welcome to your Talk to Lady show, coming to you live on LSTV1. And today, my guest is a very special one, whose name, is a household name in the Gambia. If we say Ousman Joof, we say Gambia Talents Promotion. Today, I am honored to have Ousman Joof today on the Talk to Lady show. Paus, welcome to the Talk to Lady show.
Thank you, Jamie, and greetings to you and your entire viewership. Say salam to all of you.
We are so honored to have you and to take time out of your busy schedule. We know you run a platform and you're so busy, but we want to appreciate you for taking the time to come to the Talk to Lady show. We are very grateful.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. And I must congratulate you for your initiative. I know you can do it, and we hope to see you go places too.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That being said, who is Ousman Joof? Educational background, school, career, where did he started? Just a brief summary of who you are for benefit of the viewers who are watching abroad and don't know who Ousman Joof is, or the younger people growing up now.
A Gambian by nationality, a Muslim by religion, and somebody that is from Farafenye in North Bank region in Badibu. So I'm a Badibunka, and that is where I did my early childhood education, both primary and middle school, before going to St. Augustine's High School, and then attended the University of the Gambia briefly, attended a couple of vocational schools in the Gambia, like the GTMI, where I was doing some little bit of computer training was after graduating from high school. Also studied a little bit of French at Alliance Franco Gambia, even though I did not take it very serious, and I wish I did take it more serious now. And coming to the United States, I attended the Prince William Sound Community College, from where I have an associate degree, and that is where I stopped. And this is a community college in Valdez, Alaska. That is where I stopped when it comes to education. Of course, I have been that is something on the books, formal education, but I am on the journey of education every day. I'm learning, even this second that I'm having this with you. When it comes to media, it's something that I have done all my life. I've been involved with media growing up as a child. I have done different things that get me connected to media, from acting to even rapping. It will surprise some people to know that Ousman had done a little bit of rap.
Can you give us a gist of that? Just rap for us. Let's see what you do.
I wasn't good at it. Now I can confess, but during my days, I thought I was the best rapper. I used to be in the same group with a guy called Heartbreaker, who is actually Mahmoud Jeng from Farafenye, where Njaibi the Conqueror is from. And we are the same generation. Heartbreaker is currently in Germany and doing very well. He's one of the Gambia's most seasoned reggae singers at this point. And during our days of rapping, I used to do the rap, and he was our singer and the like. And our most famous song was called Money, where we sang about money. And it is so interesting with the things we talk about, money being evil and the like. The chorus went like, money is a medium of exchange that has replaced the old barter system. and my thought is to be, look at the people helter-skelter running just for money. The daddy has to wake up early in the morning and find them solution to feed the family. Whatever. This is like over 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago in Parafenye. But I did that and transformed myself from stopping to rap, then getting into promotion and managing Sing at a Freaky Joe. Where everything I do now started with that, with Gambian Talents promotion, because after I stopped rapping, I was still involved in promotion. When I was in Gambia, I took Gambian artists to the four corners of the country. I taught with them through the non-profit organization that I used to run. When I was in Farafenni, middle school, I used to be the head boy of the Farafenni Middle School. And of course, I was a senior school prefect at St. Augustine's High School and initiated a few projects there, like the Gamsen's Reconciliation, which brought peace between St. Augustine's and Gambia High School. And really, that is where I met Singate Freaky Joe, who, of course, I later became his manager and taught the four corners of the United States. That brought me to Seattle, where I currently live, because my first time coming here was touring with Singate Freaky Joe, and I got to like it. And eventually, when after going through more than 30 states in the United States, I thought that Seattle will be a good place to live. And it is through that same process that I met my partner, Ibunjai, who is a Gambian DJ in Dallas, Texas, who wanted to bring Singate there. And we got talking. He has the skills to build websites like a web developer. And I had connection with the different Gambian musicians I was working with in Gambia. And we decided that we should do something to promote Gambian talent. These were the days before Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of these social media. We just had a website where we had a blog. We upload biographies, pictures, videos, and event calendar of Gambian musicians. That grew into becoming, we added an online radio part when that became available, online radio feature and newspaper. And then now that online television is possible, we added that as well and transform it into a non-profit, because we have done it as a full profit business for over 10 years and it was not bringing in any money and we were still promoting talents. We decided, let's transform it into a non-profit. But it is through Singate that Gambian Talents even came into being, because it's through touring with him that I met Ibunjai, who became my partner that I established Gambian Talents with.
Got you. Thank you for sharing, which we will get into details, later in this interview. In the meantime, though, how did you get into the media work? What inspired the interest to be in the media work?
Like I told you, growing up in Farafenni, I used to be an actor, which I still am, even though I haven't acted for the longest, but I love acting. So I have been part of different drama troupes. We did live performances on stage, and we also did things for the radio when I was younger. Now, when I came to Combos, it became more prominent in me. I was a youth advocate. I established the Youth in Development and Change, YIDA, through which I came to the United States with 7 of my colleagues who I was at St. Augustine's with. When I was in high school at St. Augustine's, the two schools, St. Augustine's and Gambia High School, used to have a lot of problems. Right. We didn't see eye to eye. There was a year in which there was a stampede at the National Independence Stadium until a couple of people died, and a lot of people had gone through a lot of challenges health-wise. So I thought of organizing a reconciliation program between these two schools. And that reconciliation program really gave me a lot of exposure, because I have to do a lot of advocacy, awareness creation, going to the media. And this got me connected to a lot of media institutions in the country. Some of them invited me to different programs, and eventually I even partly became a co-host, to the youth show on GRTS, which used to be hosted by Ajisei at the time. Boram Boych, of course, used to be the country coordinator for Youth in Development and Change, that which we formed after high school. But through the Gamsen's Reconciliation, that formed the basis for my connection with media and how it works and everything. And then as a young person, somebody who was very vocal, almost and youth work used to be booming in the Gambia at the time. A lot of youth organizations wanted to have the likes of Ousman and others who were very vocal and influential. I became a part of a good number of them, and I did awareness creation and advocacy. But eventually I realized that if you want to serve everyone, you will end up failing everyone. And as a result, I became part of only a few. YIDAC was my brainchild, and it took center stage. I was a member of the Buffalo Youth Advocacy Group. So I did a lot of advocacy for Buffalo on the radios and on the TV. I was a member of the Youth Against AIDS Network, YAN. I did a lot of advocacy, with YAN, of course, through YIDAC. The Nova Scotia Gambia Association, we were the first batch that were hired by NSGA to actually perform street drama and do radio drama, where we come up with short skits. And this was right after we finished high school. That was my first employment. NSGA employed myself, a few others from different high schools in the country. And I was the team leader of that. I did it for a few months, but there was some conflict of interest between what I was doing with NSGA and what I was doing with YIDAC, which was my brainchild. I ended up leaving the NSGA for YIDAC to serve YIDAC full time until I came to the United States, in addition to going to the University of the Gambia. So that served as the basis of me being involved with media. And like I told you, when I came here, I was still having a lot of interviews with a lot of online platforms. Those days, it was the Gainakos. That is when I knew Demba Balde. I had a good relationship with him from back then because they interviewed me and I provided them with a lot of entertainment related stories. The Freedom Radios, and all Gambian, and at the time we used to provide him with a lot of entertainment because that was our specialization. Entertainment is mostly what we did. The same thing with, the Fatu Jaumanes who was running, Mafanta, and a few of them before the coming of a lot of the current platforms or a lot of the platforms that are booming right now. Definitely this was between 2004, 5, 6, 7, and 2008. So I was connected with all of them. And at this time, I had already established Gambian talent, like I said, just like a blog, and the blog continued growing. When the feature to the online radio feature came, we added that component, and then now the online television. So this got me connected all through, and the dream started to be realized. The vision became clearer. We started to shape it until where it is now.
Wow, awesome. Is it right to say that as far as media houses in the Gambia is concerned, GRTS was your first was the first media house that you worked for?
I wasn't working for GRTS, yes, but I frequented it and even co-hosted programs.
Gotcha.
But I wasn't working, and our office in Fakida was at the GRTS building. We were the first people who had an office there because our organization that I founded with my colleagues, Youth in Development and Change, Boram Boyd was the director of GRTS at the time, and he was our coordinator. This was when GRTS used to be housed at the Gantel building on Kairaba Avenue, but the main building was ready. So the only office that was at the main building was Boram Boyd's office, and ours became the second office there, which was on the second floor, of course, close to where the marketing is right now. I think they have their IT department or something. So we were there, and I was at the building all the time. And as a result, sometimes I even served as a substitute. The people who were hosting programs at the time utilized me a lot on their shows, like Ousman Drame. I know him at the time. He was doing the Sunday. Who else? The other guy that is here now, I forgot his name. Suleiman Dabo. Suleiman Dabo, Ousman Drame, Ajisei. All these people utilized me a lot during their programs by inviting me to talk about youth issues and youth matters. And yes, so I spent a lot of time on GRTS, on Radio 1 FM, on City Limits Radio, and West Coast. These were the radio stations that were available, and I frequented all of them, having programs there talking about youth matters.
Coming back to Freaky Joe, do you still manage him, or do you manage other artists as well? Are you still his manager?
No, I don't do management anymore. And at some point, it became overwhelming. And I got married, started to have kids, had some challenges and a lot of difficult moments in the United States, immigration challenges that got me incarcerated, and a lot of things. Like I planned my last success program with Freaky Joe. I had put together a tour for him, and we had all logistics put together to come to the United States. He was supposed to come around May 25th. And by May 10th, I was arrested by immigration, and this was in 2008. I was arrested by immigration for 4 solid months, and Freaky Joe still came to the US, didn't do anything. And after that, I started having, when I left immigration detention, after 4 months, I had started building a family, and I had so many personal issues that just got me not being able to continue to serve as his manager. And but I still have a very good relationship with him. We are like family, and we are constantly in touch. And he is even very involved with what I do still. But I have a life. I will say it here. I have a lifetime contract with Singate Freaky Joe, and I can always come back to him to manage him, or anybody who wants to manage him may have to come through me if he was to become a millionaire. But then, yeah, so I serve as an advisor with to him and the like, and asking if I still manage people. No, but I've managed quite a few artists. Chess that lives here, you probably know him. I manage him. Mojeng, I managed him at some point. I manage quite a few Gambian artists, both locally. Pa Omar Jack, I serve as his manager here in the US briefly. So there are a few Gambian artists that I have actually managed, but now I am not doing any artist management at this minute.
Got you. Understandable. When did you form Gambia Talents? Was it before your conflict or issue with the immigration, or was this after your immigration issue?
My immigration issue was in 2008. Gambian Talents was founded in 2006. Like I said, when I was touring with Singate, and Ibunjai, who is in Texas, was interested to take Singate to Dallas. And during the time that he was contacting me and we were communicating, we both agreed that Gambians have talents. We have a lot of talented Gambians, but they are not exposed. We have a lot of unnurtured talents. We have a lot of untapped talents, and we needed to do something about it. So like I said earlier, he told me that he's a web developer, and I told him I have connected with so many Gambian artists, and I can gather the resources to actually put on the website. I mean, and this included biographies. I had to work with some Gambian artists. It was a lot of work. A lot of them did not even have biographies or profiles, something that they can put up. So I have to conduct interviews with them, write bios. There are a lot of Gambian artists who were reigning at the time. I personally wrote their biographies and profiles to put on our website. They send me pictures of their stuff. Ousman Jaju was our rep in the Gambia then, and he used to be the one that they take these things to. When they make their songs, their CDs, they take it to him. He finds a way of ripping it or mail these CDs to me, and I will read the CDs. Technology has gone so far, man, because those CDs, or they make DVDs and send it to me, and we'll have to read the music videos to upload on our website. This was even before YouTube became big and things were so complicated. So I had all of these things going on at the time. The first artists we worked with were the Njaibi. These were the days of Njaibi, the Conqueror, Dr. Oluganda, Singate Vrikijo, Pa Omar Jack, Abu Anfafa, Nancy Nance. A lot of these people actually came to the United States through our efforts, or we facilitated a lot of trips for them when they came through some organizations like Ajera in Atlanta, or I worked with partners like the Northwest Seattle Gambian Association at the time, or the Gambian organization DAA in Washington, D.C., or the Gambian Youth Organization, Modu Sawane and his team in New York. So these were the organizations I worked with in partnering with them to make sure that we gave visibility to the Gambian talents, I mean, here before Facebook or anything. And I can tell you, we had very good and successful programs. So in short, it was in 2006 that Gambian Talents was formed.
Wow, mashallah. I mean, you guys were doing great or successful in your quest to form the Gambia Talents promotion. But let me ask you, information of any network or media outlet, there comes challenges. What were some of the challenges you guys were faced at the time?
A lot, starting with the communication. Right now, you and I are not even together, and we can have this and see each other. At the time, there was nothing like this. I have to buy a phone card to call these artists or Osjaju who was on the ground to facilitate a lot of the things. They were not, until this minute, people have challenges of internet. Gambia has a lot of challenges when it comes to internet. It was worse at the time. If I don't do that, it's through email. The artist will come, I will interview them over the phone. You can imagine, buy $10, $20, $30 phone card to interview them to write their bios. Or Osjaju will write it and have to email them to me, I mean, before we upload them. So getting the content was quite a big hassle versus now that as we speak, my team are streaming live in the Gambia, whatever is happening that they are up to. Those days, I mean, it takes months before I can get the content that I wanted. Just a mere biography or a mere song can take weeks or months before I have access to it. This was one of the challenges. People didn't know about Gambia because the people here at the time, with no disrespect, were disconnected with Gambia. The most that they saw was Senegal, and this was even through the some folks in New York who used to sell like Omar Sarr, like DJ Wow, who used to sell these VCR or VHS tapes. So anything Lugina Senegal, they had access to it, and then these people will travel from state to state to be selling VCR. So that gets Senegalese musicians connected, and they used to come here and tour a lot. The only person who came here and didn't even come here for so many times was Lebar Fiate at the time. So for me to be able to facilitate, to have trips here for Gambian musicians who were reigning at the time was a big challenge. I remember sitting with Ajera, the members of Ajera in Atlanta, or I have to and try to convince them to bring Singate to the July 4th or some programs that they are organizing. They didn't know who he was. I had to bring a CD player to play his music. I had to mail his CD to the Sadie's and the Pramanes who used to run the Seattle Gambian Association at the time, for them to listen to his music, to just give a support. And I got to give it to those people and say kudos, because they didn't know Singate. There was nothing that tell people about Gambian music. Nyom Foknene is the Ifang Bondis and the Galawas who were still there, because there was nothing on the internet about these artists that I was managing or promoting at the time. So I had to make a lot of efforts to convince the Kotos and the people who were involved to give chances and this thing. And I'm very glad now, because even the cultural week, cultural event that takes place in Atlanta, I initiated that. It was a big fight with the Ajera people, and the efforts that I made, the Ajera folks are here watching, with the support of my brother Mojaju, who believed in a lot of the dreams and the visions that I have. That first cultural event in 2007 in Atlanta, Namatako on Zimba, just to see it successful. I was with Zimba at that event just to see it successful. There was this Tubab guy, Jali Steffi is called, who went to Gambia to learn how to play Sauruba. He came back with his team from Gambia. That first year in 2007, Ajera was able to play him, and Jali Steph was the one who played the Sauruba, Muitega, Tubab, Legisco, Muitega, Sabar. I mean, Sabari was blowing the whistle and everything. Because right now, Disney World hired him and he's making so much money. Gambians cannot access him anymore. But we did all of these things. It was a big challenge to actually convince the people. Artists come and are performing. Everybody sitting down watching them like this. Because how much less? And I remember Singate having to actually tell them, oh, I am so big in Gambia. I go to Sierra Leone and I fill up stadiums. If you Gambians don't support me, I mean, it's okay. And people were very offended with that statement. And I had to do a lot of damage control, because he's singing, and nobody was just reacting to him because they didn't know him. So now to see Gambian musicians travel here and the type of reception they get compared to what we used to have back in the days, we have gone a long way. And seeing Gambian organizations around the world every single day organizing cultural events, I take us as trendsetters who actually started this in Atlanta in 2007. That got a whole lot of people. Washington, D.C. followed suit, Miami followed suit, a lot of the organizations here, and even London and other communities also started following suit with these things. That is something that we are very proud of, because now they organize events and Gambianize it and include Gambian culture and Gambian talents in it, and even pay ticket for Gambian artists to come all the way from Gambia to here. That is something that we are very proud of.
And talking about, since we are still at it, talking about the Gambian support, do you think we need to do more, or is there room for improvement, or are you satisfied with the level of the Gambian support at this point? Because like you said,
that is a whole conversation of its own, but I am not satisfied. And there are several factors responsible for this. The Gambian talents have a role to play in the way they package themselves, their communication, their look, the way they brand themselves and everything, in order for Gambians and anybody to appreciate them more. Naturally too, ñun ay samba alar lañ. We barely support our own. It doesn't matter how good it is. We only support our own when we have outsiders endorse us. People that are endorsed by outsiders. That's who we celebrate. And we can go back to history for the most part. Any Gambian that is celebrated and given respect, the type of respect that they deserve, is only when they make it international. Lan more they change for the most part? Probably nothing. They might be doing some of the same things that they were doing when they were back home or when they were local, but we don't appreciate that. Instead, we will sabotage them, we will fight them, we will humiliate them, we will discourage them, we will caricature them, and nyakalolen horom and everything. But the moment they make it international, we start to celebrate them. Look at Bai Babu, look at Musa Angom, look at even those in the sports arena. Biri Biri was in Gambia, may he so rest in peace. Gambia barely celebrated him. But whenever he went international, he will bring him over to do Nugisco Stadium, the Nakala Fese, and how people celebrate him when he comes back to Gambia. Before then, nobody celebrated him. Everybody passes him on the streets like this and look at him like that. Our musicians, the same thing. We only celebrate people when the international or when outsiders recognize them or endorse them. And this is in all sectors across the board, whether in academics, whether in religion, whether in health, anything that a Gambian does. If you are recognized by the international, is the only time that we celebrate you, but locally we don't. So there are several factors. Our government, like we started a new program on our platform that comes every Saturday called Gam Service in Focus that Kalilu Banja is presenting. And that particular program, we are talking about these real issues affecting it. From the government to the government entities that are involved, they barely do what they are supposed to do to empower and support and give these people the type of support and backing that they need for us to be seen and taken seriously. Last week on that show, I said it. Gambian artists had a big challenge being refused visas because they want to come to the US, they want to go to Europe or other places. Could they not have been given diplomatic passports? Because they are ambassadors, they represent the country internationally. Could the government not have given them incentives? We have the Arts Association in the country that should have been established, the copyright law. So for people to be able to, musicians and artists to be able, whether it's musicians, actors and actresses, any Gambian talent to be able to succeed, there are certain systems and things that need to be in place for you to be able to succeed in there. Without those things being in place, we will continue to have a merry-go-round and barely go far. So I am definitely not satisfied. There is a lot of room for improvement, and every single stakeholder has a hand in making that happen, not one person or institution.
Thank you for sharing that. And I must give you credit. I've seen that Gambia Talents will even celebrate people that have passed on and to remember their memories and some of the things that they do. I do see you do that a lot. And I just want to give you credit for that because that's a good thing. I mean, we can't forget what they did here. So thank you for doing that as well. In your previous explanation, at one point you were on the deportation list, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
If I'm not, please correct me. But I just want to ask, what did you learn and how was that experience like for you?
I learned a lot. That experience is the current Pa Ousman. It's what determined who Pa Ousman is now. I did 4 months in immigration detention. Prior to that, Pa Ousman was booming, had a lot of things going on, energetic, young, passionate, Gambian talent trying to go to places, traveling, have a lot of visions, and things were coming along. When I got into that, everybody who claimed, or most people who claimed to be friends and family, ran away from me. So it made me want to follow Kochi Barma's saying, the jigen sopalte bulwolo, but I turned it not to say jigen, but nit sopalte bulwolo. Right. So I just tag along with people and just enjoy the moment while it lasts. But I don't trust to a great extent because I know people can flip-flop anyhow, especially when things don't favor them. So to tell you one thing I learned is that everybody is a selfish human being and people can be very fake. People will laugh at you, smile at you, because they have a hidden agenda or because they have a benefit to enjoy with you. I am saying this because I was there. People who claim love me, people who could have pushed buttons for me to get things work for me when I was there, My rights were restricted. I could barely do anything. I only had a few minutes of a phone call to be able to make every day. I have to go and queue at a phone booth, waiting for somebody to get on the phone, get off, another person gets off, and I could only have 15 minutes of time to do that. I need to get hold of somebody. I could only do collect call. I call people. Of course, if they collect call, they have to be charged. They don't pick up my calls. I send my family to them. They started running away. I can understand with the collect call they were going to be charged, but I send family to them and they will not pick up their collect call. It gets me to understand too how the system in America works, the corruption and all of these things that we are talking about with Black Lives Matter and all of these things. I was a victim of this. The system suppressed me in Jamie and tried to make me a criminal when I am actually not a criminal. I am a victim of a system that is set up. I came here and of course I just happened to miss a court date, and that is how this whole mess came about. I never had any criminal record, not in any form, shape, or kind. I just had a court that I was supposed to attend, immigration court proceeding. I missed the date, which of course is still illegal. And there's a whole lot of things responsible for me missing the court date. But just for missing that court date, they tried to turn me into a criminal and did everything possible. For 9 good months, I was on a monitoring bracelet. I'm not a criminal. I wasn't supposed to be in any monitoring bracelet. If this was a white kid at the time, they wouldn't have done that to them. I was put on a monitoring bracelet. I was reporting to immigration every single month to their office, a couple of times probably. They had a private company that they hired called G4S, who were monitoring me, who had to come to my house unannounced. They only give me 30 minutes notice, and wherever I was, I could not do anything. I had to be at my house. They have to send a phone call to my phone every month, once or twice, and I had to pick up the phone just to answer 3, 4, 5 questions. Is this by Ousman Joof? Have you been arrested since your last report? I mean, have you changed jobs? Have you working? Have you changed your address? 5 questions they ask me. If I miss this, I have broken and violated my probation, and they take me back to jail. I could not get a job because I was on curfew from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. And any single job I could have got, this was young Pa Ousman without much experience in the United States. I could only do menial jobs that anybody else could do. And during this period, when I go to work, I could only work a 6 to 2 p.m. shift or 7 to 3 p.m. shift, or I go for an evening shift where I work 2 to 10 or 3 to 11, or I go for an overnight shift. I could not do any of these, Jamie, because by 6 o'clock, I have to be home. I cannot leave until 7 a.m. If I go to work a 2 to 10 shift, I have to be home by 9 o'clock. I could not do it. Overnight, mom waxuñ ko. So this got me frustrated. I could barely have food to eat at some point, and I basically almost resorted to begging. My light bill was disconnected. I went through a lot of hustle that got me to end up forcefully moving to Alaska. A lot of people don't know some of these stories. I moved to Alaska not by choice, but because of desperation. My light was disconnected, and I have to turn on a candle or a torchlight to be able to come to my house after spending the whole evening in Sumakir's sister, where I can have some food to eat. Of course, with a young daughter and a spouse at the time. It brings memories, and this is why I'm very passionate about immigration. I know very well how corrupt the system can be. When we were in the jail, we serve as victims because one person will do something and everybody gets punished for it. They poke you until you want to do stupid and criminal stuff. And I condemn it, and I want this systemic racism to end here. And it's harder on us, the immigrants, I would say partly, because there is no help. They want you out of this country. Somebody somewhere is making money and expecting to make money because they have bonuses. People will drop things. You are supposed to go to court, and they know they're supposed to go to court. They would rather take a day off, take a vacation or other things, and you miss that court date. And your next court date can be set for another 2 months, when, of course, you are there. And if you attended that court, you could have had a bail, you could have had a judgment made or something, but somebody will miss that court date. And because that person does not attend the court, you will end up having to wait for another 2 months in the jail. It's very challenging and it's very tough. So I learned to be patient. People can barely do anything. Move. Family and friends back home, Move because before then I used to sacrifice and do a lot of things for family and friends. Di xañ suma boppa lu bari for them. When this thing happened, everybody bedeekuma. Yegalatuñ ma sax xew yi, nobody informs me of the things that they have going on, whether xew la ngente la takka la dëj la whatever. Ñu noppal ma, it helps me to be able to save and plan for my kids and their future. But it tells you who people are. When it is sweet, when it's nice, they are with you. But when things go rough, everybody runs away from you. And if you are asking me what I learned, that's one thing that I learned from it. And I am not moved by what people think or Ndiran or whatsoever, because I have been through quite a few things where I could not even put on a short sleeve or a short a pair of shorts, no matter how warm it is, no matter how hot it is. Atlanta that has over 90, 80 degrees weather, 100 degrees weather, because I was embarrassed to actually put on some shorts because I have a big monitoring bracelet on my leg that when people see it, they will stereotype me. I could not get a job anywhere, anyhow, and that's even partly how I got into media. Partly the giant to CDs, DVDs, and bootlegging music and other content just to be able to survive. Because if I did not sell any CDs, very Korla one, Ramadan, I was broke and did not have anything to do. I needed to feed my family. I went ahead and just copied some Al Quran and some Ware and Zikr CDs. I went to a Daira and I sold them there, $25 pack of CD la agenda. I was able to make 100 and something dollars from there. This continued and I started even bootlegging CDs and DVDs and selling them. I did not intentionally want to hurt those artists or their copyright. I know how hard it is to get content. Right now, I'm a content creator. I'm creating content. I bootleg them not because I wanted to, but because the system put me through that. Let me stop there before I get too emotional.
No, I mean, I am touched by your story, because some of the things that you said, I've moved and touched by your story, because some of the things that you reveal, I never knew you have went through, but then you still standing. You did not give up on yourself. Let me ask you this: why do you think people were turning their back on you when you needed them the most?
I believe that's just how people are. Everybody is a selfish human being, especially our people. I see that a lot in us. That did not start with me. I have seen somebody who used to be, who I was very close to when I was going to school, and he helped me a lot. When this person was fortunate because he had a Jabari Tubab who was helping him and giving him a lot of money, and he was taking care of his family and friends, then ko baye mu def lu ko neex. He did all kinds of things, and it was okay for his entire family and friends. But once he lost his prestige, once he lost his money, nobody wanted to deal with him. I've witnessed that before. This was when I was going to high school, and we've heard stories like this forever. People are just like that for the most part. When they having things their way, or when things are good, they associate with you. So they may be nobody wants to associate with you. You're seeing the clear example with Yaya Jammeh, people who wine and dine with him, people who were there praising him and involved in doing a lot of things for him, with him, some of which probably he's not even aware of. But I will be quick to say that he would take responsibility because he was the leader. Some people might have acted and did a lot of things on behalf of Yaya Jammeh without his knowledge, just because they wanted to please and satisfy him. At the end of the day, where are all those people? Everybody's running away from him. The cabinet, people who were endorsing him, when things got tough, did they all not start to resign and run away from him? Yeah. So this is just natural, especially in this is nothing specific to Pa Ousman. You better brace up for it if you haven't been there yet, because but that is just life. People will laugh at you, smile at you, show you they love you, pretenders. The pretending is so much, especially in our community, when they really don't mean it. They're just after a particular interest, whether it is the prestige, whether daraja bila, whether alal bila is your wealth, your knowledge, your skills, whatever it is. They have a hidden agenda or a particular interest that they have with you. Once that interest is no more, they will not.
Yep.
They walk away from you. They move on. And you will be surprised that they can even start the Gorsa early. So this is just who we are.
Very unfortunate. If you were to redo your immigration journey again, what would you have done differently?
Mm, that's a tough one. I appreciate what I went through, Jamie, because it built me and it made me who I am. I knew a lot of things that I might not have known if I didn't go through what I go through. Take me in front of any immigration. I can be an immigration consultant, because 10 solid years I am in the system dealing with it. They victimized me and tried everything possible. For the sake of time, I didn't tell you. Sumala on everything else I go on. This is just less than 20% of what I went through is what I actually shared here. Through because of that immigration problem. Believe it or not. And I've had programs on my platform where I talk about immigration. And this is why I'm very passionate about immigration, whether it is here in the United States, whether in Gambia, or whether in Europe. If you see anything that has to do with immigration, I take a leading role in that. My platform, I personally, I take a leading role in talking about immigration because I've been in the system over 10 years. So I learned a lot from the system to our people to how things are. I wouldn't have been who I am or where I am today. After that journey, I learned a lot. I mean, as far as my deen is concerned, Marafat. Tuti maneka hafisul Quran nag am na ndonde me sikkim bangi fi di watato. Sorry, very many suratul yasin nag so many of them. I learned them there a lot of things about my deen. Even Mima brings up suma kids. Actually, I learned it there. I learned a lot of hadiths. I learned a lot of surahs. For the first time, I read the entire Holy Quran was in the jail. Yes. Honestly. So I appreciate what I went through because it prepared me and made me who I am today. I developed a lot of thick skin. I can resist a lot of things. I went through a lot of pain. So I'm not scared right now. You're in front of any immigration, any immigrant. Not immigration, you know how our people are scared. Whether I'm not kid, I'm a kid, anywhere for one to I am not scared of immigration. I'm not scared of any officer, whether immigration or any type of law enforcement. I'm just not scared of them. Because I know they're just human beings. And I know my rights and I can fight for my rights. So thank God for what I went through. So to say if I would have changed anything, I appreciate what I went through because it helped to make me who I am today.
Makes sense. And coming back to GTP, Gambia Talents Promotion, what was the experience like? Or did you have any obstacles trying to launch it in the Gambia, to be specific?
I will say no, because I was already operating, except during Yaya Jammeh's time. It was tough to be able to be independent. If you are talking about what I went through with the authorities, right. No, it went through normal registration with all the different things that we had to. But is it hard to get content? Is it hard to do our work independently? I would say yes. A lot of judgment. People barely understand the role of the media in Gambia. And if we are talking about the challenges from then until now, people barely understand the role of the media, especially public figures, especially people in authority, custodians of information. They think they're doing you a favor when they should actually be doing what they are paid to do. And this is not only even within government, but both government and private sector. Having access to information is the biggest challenge faced by the Gambian media. A lot of times we get criticized, we get caricatured. You may have all the ideas in the world, but they cannot be realized because of the fact that the way the system is set up and our perception of media and our people. A lot of changes are taking place within Gambian talents. We tap, nurture, and promote talents. You saw a lot of, let's say, musicians and music-related activities, drama, movies, any people in the arts industry, whether performing and fine arts or different type of arts industry. You see all of these things as Gambian talents, and this used to be our area of specialization. We have to change and modify a lot of things because artists, because musicians, because actors and actresses, and even those in authority or who have positions of responsibility or public figures think the media be then place. I would comfortably see Gambian Talents was one of those first platforms that break the barrier in the way we question and scrutinize our people in offices, our public figures, our artists, challenging them.
to bring out the uncomfortable parts of their lives. This was a big challenge. And because of that, they take us as haters. Because of that, they barely want to have anything to do with us. Because of that, they avoid us and don't include us in anything. They only may go to platforms that are Nilena babysit, Nilena dogo dogo, Nilena rai, Nilena like, Yafi touch this music, can begin a song be, can begin a song bele. If an artist happens to steal something at a restaurant or a bar or something, or an artist is fighting, or an artist beat their wife, or an artist is involved in a saga, or went to steal somebody's money, or tapale I need organized concert, bring people to perform or do certain tasks that they didn't pay, and we talk about these things or ask them those questions. They don't want to do that. So this is one of the challenges we have, and as a result, we cannot continue to follow them on everything, and we have to change things. We have a show called Celeb Creep, which we want to feature our talents, our celebrities, to go to their homes for a day and see how they're spending their lives. A lot of them because they don't understand the concept, a lot of them because they are too shy, a lot of them because maybe the type of life that they are showcasing out there is not equivalent to their home life. They are kind of scared or they are ashamed or shy to be featured in this project. As a result, we have all the great ideas, but we cannot put them to reality because of Lulu. Carry out an investigation in any subject, any field in Gambia. People give you the running around, Demal Nowal, say Elec, ignoring your calls, not coming. Right before I came on air, I was on the phone with one of my staff there who is doing an investigation about something that involves government officials, and we cannot get hold of them. We are doing one that has to do with the closure of the borders, whether the Gambia closed its borders. I sent my team to go across the four corners of the country to every single border post, from Karang to Kirpate to Kir Aib to Basse, Koina to Jiboro, to all these places. There are allegations by ordinary people against Gambia immigration. For good 1 month, we are following immigration and we could not get them to talk to us. We've contacted the director, we have contacted their PRO and people that are involved, and they would not still talk to us about this. So these are some of the challenges that we face as media. When it comes to Gambian talent, you see people say, right now, Gambian talent. Yes, we are still promoting a lot of talent, but music industry, the acting, what they want is not what we do, because they only want to give an opportunity to those that would ride them, dogo them, or whatsoever. I don't have to censor you. You just told me you need an interview with me. I didn't ask you any question. I don't mind. You can ask me any question you want to ask. It's my choice to answer in the way that I want to answer. Do you have to force me to give you an answer? No. And it is the same thing that they need to do. Somebody can interview you and ask you questions, but it's left to you to give a befitting answer, or what you want to tell them, or what you want them to know, or what you don't want them to know. And if you're not comfortable in answering any question, even though you're not going to put a knife on my throat to tell me you must tell me this or tell me that. And these are things that our people need to learn from, and Gambian talents and a lot of media houses are having it as a challenge. And I know very well that you will have the same challenge, certainly.
Right, definitely. Comme ni nga ko waxee rek, I mean, defe naa nit ñi dañ ragal caméra bi or something. And like li nga wax, am na yoo xamante ne yenn topics yi suñ ko buggee waxtaan, nit ñi dañ dee foog ne those are untouchable, or you're having a personal attack on the person that you interviewed. But in reality, yaa ngi bugg a get the information out there to the public, which is your job as a journalist. We have seen Gambia Talents as a program called Lu Tax Gambia Do Dem, which, I mean, some perceive to be very controversial. How do you handle controversy in settings?
One how I started and what built me. Now you will understand if you see certain things happening that don't move by Ousman. So I am not moved by those. And I am also prepared, because I know I belong to a society. Sorry for this, I don't mean to hurt anybody, that people's level of awareness are very minimal and slim. This is no disrespect to anybody. It's my fact, it's my position, and it's based on my interaction with people. People shouldn't get to Barrywood. Lingham Barrywood, kuneka am interested, only what you are interested in is what you go after. If you like something or you want something, it's a no-go area. It's not touchable. Only good things have to be said or talked about when it comes to that. Look at it when it comes to politics. Members of all political parties, their leaders cannot do anything wrong in their eyes. Fans of musicians or actors or people, the people that they love cannot do anything bad in their eyes. And our role is to educate and inform the people and give them fair and balanced story. Our role is to report what we see, what we heard, what we know, what we are told. Our role is to investigate and make sure that we follow due diligence by reaching out to every single sector and people that are involved. And when we get all of this, we put it on the table for people. Ñun dañoo togga bem ñor ñu yakka tegal leen ngeen lekka. Yéena xam nag naka ngeen ko lekkee, how you eat it. So if I happen to write a story or I talk about a subject after doing a lot of research, especially lately, I have learned and I have grown a lot when it comes to this job. And I know how powerful my platform is. Having a combined following of 300,000 people across all social media, Dulundau. I have done things that hurt people or you yahal people their life, what that destroyed people. I have done things too that built people in the process of me doing media. It was a passion and still a passion. But now I take it more serious because I have people who rely on me. Kama ko wax Pa Ousman, anything I say is seen as truth. And as a result, I have a responsibility to follow due diligence and make sure that lepa luma wax, luma verify la, wala bok, suma jotul nin ko waxal, I have made efforts to reach out and get the facts though. Like I told you, stuff I said about immigration. Our documentary is ready. They just sent me the draft yesterday to view and look at it. Allegations against immigration. They are good at damage control. Now, since they new publish the things I said about them, they'll be the first people to now want to release a press statement, to try to run to all media houses, to try to get a press conference, or go to all media houses to debunk what he said. When before we published the story, people could have had the chance to hear both sides at the same time. So I am not moved by this because our community are not prepared for this. Lutah Gambia to them so ask a question. Lutah. So Lutah there is a question. Learn Lutah Gambia to them. Every week you say the things that Gambians are doing, and we talk about those things, we analyze it in the leral. So if people see that to be negative, which a lot of people, a good number of people do, and guess what? I have people, public officials, who take this so personal and who prevent Gambian talents or Pa Ousman from having certain things just because they don't like that. Just because they are not happy with this. Just a few months ago, there was this public official who is occupying one of the highest offices and critical positions in the country, who could have had something that Gambians can benefit from, but Muhanko Gambian just because he's not happy with that particular show. And the person I used to be in touch with, all of a sudden, I send messages on WhatsApp, nothing. Facebook Messenger, different things. On the whole, the guy had blocked me. And I had to send my team in Gambia to go and actually, consult him. And when they were there, they gave him the phone and he told me he's mad at me, how mad at me he was because of Luther Gambia them show and the negativity that I'm championing. He took it personal. I interviewed Mustafa Njai, Tough Africa Global. He said it to me and said that's a negative name, that I need to change this and I need to come up with a better name and he will fund my platform. He will sponsor Gambian talent. And I told him with all due respect, if changing that name would be the only reason why you sponsor me. Unfortunately, Gambian talents will never have any sponsorship from TAF as an institution or you as a person, because we're not just going to change the name. Unless and until not the only reason Louis Tach ma change Komoy, so Gambians start on did something different. Louis Tach rew them. But say every week, Gambians are doing something and engage in activities, you Tach very with them, then continue to like the question, and we will continue to analyze and scrutinize it and talk and talk about how we think things should go as far as the way we run our country is concerned. So whether Luther Gambia Dems or any other platform we have that is controversial, that is what we need. Even when they are doing wrong, public officials and people in positions of responsibility need to understand that they are there for a reason and they will be held accountable, and those days are gone where you makatane moot nothing. If some are doing it, there would be some who will not allow that or accept that. Thank you.
That's very true. You also have a sexual explicit show called the Sentiments Show. Do you worry about kids watching it? Even though, I do see that you put parental advisory, warning above the videos, but are you worried that the kids will be watching that show?
Point of correction. I don't have a sexual explicit program. And it is important for you to, it is important for you to let, for your viewers to know that you, Jennifer, would have been the first host of that show. Do you remember? When you and I talked about you doing that show. Huh? Years ago, you would have been the host of that show. So it's a show that talks about relationship. And relationship is a whole 9 yards, and sex cannot be excluded in it.
Exactly.
Do we talk about sex? Yes, but you said a sex exclusive show. We don't do a sex exclusive show. Yes, we have time and moment and days that we will talk about sex, because lu am solo nak kan mo bañ sex nañ waxante deug xam nga ñaata serigne ñaata imam ñaata pa ak mère ak grandma ñoo sétane ci palanteer bi. They watching us through the fenêtre. Support bi am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne support bi la ñu dee sétane. They love it. This is back to what I said earlier. A lot of us can be hypocritical. We pretend to hate something or to condemn something. That is exactly what we are living. That is exactly our attitude. That is exactly what we want. You know when that sentiment is a popular show, when we are on, you may see 50, 60, 70 people watching. You know how many people are watching us coming up in their point. I said this on air. They are watching us. One more, and a lot of them are interested. They don't want to watch it live for Jamie but to judge them. For Kenan to judge them. What they want to do is have them pass new Satan, while you just press direct and have the audio going to bring this same to new Satan. But yes, people do watch it. And I am telling you, Sentiment is one of the shows that I'm most proud of on Gambian talent. You know why? Because it has changed lives, because it has fixed relationships. Very critical moment. People come and vent out and share their stories. People come and talk about things that so many people can relate to. And this last week was the last one we had. We didn't talk about sex. This last Monday, we talked about friendship in relationship, how friends are breaking relationships, how people can do certain things to each other and they call each other friends and loved ones, how a friend will come and take his or her friend's boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or biralko, how friends will come and be jealous because you have a partner that they want and they cannot have it, and they start to destabilize your relationship by telling you things, how friends have saved each other's lives and each other's relationships, how friends have become inspiration to each other. This is what we talked about. And it got a lot of people using the same paper. People called and shared their stories on the show. One Lolly Jamme called in Denmark or somewhere, called and said how a friend of hers who she lodged in her house for 3 good years ended up hooking her husband up with another friend, and the husband ended up going out with Coco. These are stories, real life stories that people call and share. We have touched lives. We have had couples who changed their lives. We have husbands and wives who became very close because of Sentiment. We have marriages that were under the brink of falling, and they came back apart, and they came back together. And these are things that we are very proud of. At the end of the day, nag gune yi dem def yu fi gune te dem tëddi nañ saw te dox tëddi Sentiment du pour ñoom, and that's why we give the parental advisory. If any parent have your kids sitting there and we're talking about sex, so be it. And you see, these are some of the things that our community yi ñooy tabu yi bul ko laal bul ko jege kenn bu ko waxtaanee lu nekk dañ ko laam-laamee dañ ko laamisoo dañ ko hide under the carpet. And we have rape. We have uncles that rape their kids. We have, aunties that rape their children. So a lot of things are happening. How to raise our families. A lot of things yoo xam ne dañ ko laam-laamee. Nijaay bu biiral jarbaatam ñu ne nañ ko nëbba. These are things that we should not talk about. It's a taboo. Papa bu biiral doomi jiitleem. We talk about these things, different things that we would not have talked about, that our people are embarrassed to talk about. We bring them to the plate. When women get married in Gambia, so demal danga say sa kër jëkkër, danga say si biir family bi, sa jëkkër sax mooy sa sanga, fum la aaye nga toog, su la waxee demal nga dem, bàyyil nga bàyyi, listen. You are taught these things and not to be told certain things. Are we taught about sex? No. I'm not saying that dafa war a ñëw physically and show you how to be penetrated or whatever, but we should be able to have sex education between us and our kids and talk about these things. Jigéen ñu bari duñ leen dee jàngal, góor ñu bari duñ leen dee jàngal. about these relationships, and that contributes a lot to who we are. A lot of women think that them say, "Mbanga, yow da nga am pour sonna so ñaxut sa kër jëkkër so fa sonnuti so fa toroxute not even sonna because relationship yëpp muñalante la but da nga nit pour torox pour nga am doom yi tekki waaye ñaata ndi fi torox waaye te seen doom yi tekki wuñ. These things are being taught. Men are not taught about relationship. What we grew up seeing, a good number of us, is our dads beating our moms. Di leen dóor di leen lifin ma ne ñaata mère ñoo fi daan am sexe duñ daanu ngir satisfy seen jëkkër yi rek. They just satisfy their husbands alone. They think the only reason to have sex is to conceive babies. Am doom rek moo tax ñu war a am sex. Jigéen ñi ak jànq ji tey biñ demee ba mos daanu fexeel bañ nàkk daanu.
Still talking about GTP. Finger Daniel more funny, but anyway.
Wow, guys, yaa waroon na nekk host bi de yow mi yaa waroon na host sentiment wax leen ko years ago. Yaa waroon na host sentiment. Tell them, the audience is good, you know, for the record. She should have been the first host of sentiment. Why dafa daw xam na nu fa taayoo.
Well, now talking about GTP, but what sort of entity is it? Because we have seen Gambia Talents Promotion, we have seen Gambia Talents Foundation. So I'm just trying to understand what kind of entity is it exactly?
Okay, I told you earlier that GTP was initially established for years, over 10 years, as a full profit business, registered in the Gambia and here, right? With time, we had to make an informed decision because our purpose and mandate was to tap, nurture, and promote Gambian talent. And this we have done for years. It was in making profit, and we did not want to make profit at the time. We decided to transform it into a non-profit platform that, of course, is to tap, nurture, and promote Gambian talents. Inform, educate, and entertain Gambians using talents and complement government and private sector development initiatives. In a nutshell, Lola. Now, the mandate of GTP Gambia, sometimes these people get things mixed up here. The mandate of GTP Gambia and the mandate of GTP America or USA are somewhat different. GTP Gambia is basically trying to tap, nurture, and promote those talents, of course, and informing the Gambians. We have access to establish a media house through which people can be informed, through which we can build the capacity of young people, train them in different skills, tap and nurture their talents. And basically, this is what we are doing. So it is a foundation that is actually providing advocacy and providing information to the Gambians, and of course, at the same time, tapping and nurturing talents, if this makes sense. And that is why you see what we are doing. We have supported several Gambian artists until this minute. As we speak right now, before I got on air with you, if you go to our platform, you will see that the griots, Geweli Fofunono, Nene Jali Suso, Jali Matar, and several Gambian griots who are affected by the COVID want to do a virtual and online fundraising. GTP is partnering with them, GTTV is partnering with them for free of charge. We are providing them with the platform to actually come and do a virtual fundraiser on the 26th of this month, where they will, of course, doing a live performance, and then we'll have interviews with them and stuff, and people can call and pledge and support them. So we are still promoting talents, in addition to giving the public information, talking about how the griots are affected. That's giving the public information. Jale Matar was interviewed by Fatamba and Bintajiba just 2 hours ago, right before I came on your show, an hour ago, matter of fact, right before I came on your show. I had just finished having a meeting with them when we were talking about the logistics and how this should be done. Now, when it comes to GTP Seattle, it's a different story. I told you about my immigration story. It is something that I am passionate about. In short, the mission of GTP Seattle is to connect Gambians in Washington with local resources and bridge the gap between us and the wider community. You know there is a big gap between us and the wider community. Everything we do for the most part is rec. Our programs, our activities, things we participate in, everything is just us. And with no disrespect to anybody, with no disrespect to any individual or institution, I continue to knock a lot of doors where I get a lot of resources to support the Gambian community here through Gambian Talents Promotion. And the places I go never knew there exists a country called the Gambia, talk less of having Gambians in Washington. And typical example was the chief executive of Snohomish County, Executive Summers. When I had a meeting with him, he told me he never even knew there exists a country called Gambia. And to have Gambians in Washington, and that is why I am receiving a lot of support through the county. Just this morning, I have received 1,000 face masks for kids. Just this morning, 1,000 face masks for kids. I've received over, 4,000 to 5,000 face masks that I have given to the Gambian community here through the Gambian Talents Promotion. We are connecting here people here with resources. We go and look for resources because we are registered as a 501c organization. We go look for resources. Since we have this 501c3 in December of 2018, we have done several programs. We have launched the Seattle Gambian Grammar Association, working with our grandmas, giving them that prestige, helping them to have monthly meetings where they discuss issues that affect them, and we have helped them to organize themselves. And now that organization is one of the strongest bodies here when there is marriage problems. Mm-hmm. They invite these grandmas officially. Ñu dem ñu aide ñi am problem. Jàngal leen wax leen aada ak cosaan and how they used to do their things, and they are fixing a lot of marriages. We have these grandmas who sit home and not do anything much. Without sleep, take care of their grandkids. Some of them cannot even understand these grandkids. We have plans to actually provide adult literacy service for these grandmas. They are having challenges to fill out forms, to do certain things, to make certain phone calls. They come to us and we make these phone calls for them. We do this interpretation for them. We provide them with services, and that is just the grandma. When it comes to the kids, for years, you know about this. When we initiated the Back to School program, you were there. This is something that we are very passionate about. Every single year we've been doing this for the kids for the past 4 years. It's getting bigger and better. This year we gave 200 backpacks and school supplies. Gifts like tablets, other toys, different type of food items. We teach our kids about our culture and our tradition. And the like. And these are very important things. We tell them basic things about our country, the political, social, and cultural things. Just that was 2-3 weeks ago. Last Friday, 1 week ago, we gathered, we gave out over $2,000 to the college kids, Gambian people here going to college, whether kids or adults who are going to college and universities, to help them with grocery assistance. We gave some people $75, some $100. We gave other gifts like face masks, we gave glue, we gave socks, and different items that we have that we are going to gather and get from different partners to actually this thing. We are providing advocacy. You know about this. We provide several videos in which we educate people. We participated in the 2020 census to tell Gambians the importance of participating in the 2020 census. This is something that is very important because a lot of us didn't know that the census exists or the importance of it. I was here in 2010. I did not participate in the census. It comes every 10 years. Little do we know that it is through the census that we have all the resources like the roads, the schools, the police are paid and funded through this, that it is every 10 years that the United States government gives funding for the schools, for the hospitals, and all of these things to the local government. And it is through the people that are counted. So we did advocacy on this 2020 census. That is another very important project. When it comes to families, we are supporting people with this COVID. I am proud to tell you that since this coming of the COVID, we have spent nothing less than $80,000 to pay medical bills, to pay different kinds of utility bills for Gambians here, and provide food assistance for them. This morning was the last time I gave $150 to a family to support them. We have single moms, a lot of single moms here in Washington who are struggling. We have packages for these people, and next month is October Awareness Month. What we are doing right now is trying to support our women that are affected by cancer. You know that in the past couple of years, there are Gambian women who passed or lost the battle to cancer here in the state, and we want to do awareness on this. We have some support. We want to do awareness on this. We would have had a big 2 or 3 day event, even if it wasn't for COVID, that would be just towards creating awareness, have free mammogram tests for our women, provide advocacy, have survivors come and tell their stories, and we support them financially as well. This is what we do here in Washington. These are just some of the programs we have done for adults, for kids, for single moms, and different people in the community. In addition to so, we serve as a resource center where people come, tell us ideas. People that have a couch that they want to give away, they bring it to our attention. We post it on our WhatsApp groups and the broadcast list to say, this person has a couch to give, you are interested, contact them. So people, we connect each other with resources. In a nutshell, these are some of the things that we've been doing. And it's not only financial resources, but several resources. And this is something that we are proud of. I hope this clears the doubt as to what is Gambian Talents doing, or Gambian Talents, Gambia versus Gambian Talents Washington.
Yeah, definitely. You have went into details about it. I had follow-up questions, but it looks like you said it all in your explanation, which is great. I mean, I can attest to some of the things that you guys have been doing for the community, which is great. Just to ask this question, probably some might be wondering, considering all that you guys have been doing to the community and other individuals, who owns GTP? I mean, is it a partnership or single owned now? Considering all that
I told you it's a non-profit foundation that I set up that started from what we have been doing. You see, I'm very passionate about volunteerism. I'm very passionate about giving back to my society. Dating back to when I was in Gambia, I mentioned the few organizations that I serve. Everywhere I go, I have been on record for these things, especially the things that I am passionate about, whether it is art, whether it is culture, whether it's talent related. When I was in Atlanta, I did a lot of these things with Gambian talents as well as Ajera that I was working with. I was working very closely with Mojaju. We run the kids department and the social department, and there are a lot of activities that I championed and initiated with them. When I went to Alaska, I did the same thing. So everywhere I go, I give back. And I knew that we could do a lot more for our community. And this triggered for me to come up with this initiative to actually register Gambian Talents as a 501c3 organization. And registering it as a 501c3 organization, anybody can do that to champion the cause, a particular cause that you are doing. So Gambian Talents is not owned by me, but I am the executive director of Gambian Talents. And I am working with a board that are supporting me to actually to carry out our programs and activities. And the board empowers us and don't interfere with what we do. We report to our board and carry out our regular meetings, and they are very much involved. Our board were present at the back to school event we did just 2 weeks ago, and it is gaining a lot of momentum. Since we register it, we are learning a lot and going through a lot of transformation, and having access to a lot of resources is actually directing us, because those resources, some of them come with conditions that we have to fulfill, and we are learning on a daily basis. It's not a perfect institution. We are learning on a daily basis. But I am the executive director of Gambian Talent, per se, and I have several volunteers that are working with me to actually support me in this thing, in addition to the board that I have. You've seen the back to school program we did. Several people came there to volunteer. Just last weekend when we had the college giveaway stuff, people came and volunteered. And this is exactly how nonprofit work here. And we are registered with all kinds of nonprofit bodies here and out at local and national level.
Other than giving away to kids, grandma, and all the community work that you guys do, I do see that you are also in pursuit of recruiting new talents. You employ aspiring media personnel or that want to become journalists as interns. How long do you keep them before you hire them as
Are you talking about a few until this question? You were talking about Gambian Talents Washington. Are you going back to Gambia, or are you talking about? Have you gone back to Gambia, or are you still on Washington?
No, I'm done with the giveaways and community work in America. Now I'm back to Gambia, where you some of these people that are interested.
Yes. So for the record, I have told you our mandate for Gambia is to tap, nurture, and promote talents. So we have an internship program that is 1 year long. And we are offering different classes. Some, for now, we have taken a break from. And these classes are taught by experts and professionals. It is not only media for the record. We provide classes in graphic design, in web design, in videography, in journalism, in marketing, in administrative assistant, and even accounting. And we have professionals who are teaching these classes. The first 7 badges have exhausted or have gone through their time because we bring people every 3 or 4 months. As we speak right now, we are recruiting for a new badge. We keep the internship program altogether is 1 year. And during this 1 year, they learn whatever skill that they want to learn. Our approach is 75% practical and 25% theory. And the people we target are 3 to 4 different sets of people. We target young people who did not graduate from school dropouts. We target those who finished school and have been sitting for a year, 2, 3, or 4, or however long, and I've had people who sat for 10 years without having anything going on for them who came to benefit from this program. We target what we call backway returnees, irregular migrants who embark on the journey to Europe or through the Mediterranean and they did not make it. Either they were deported or they voluntarily deport themselves. Anybody who is a returnee that needs an opportunity. And of course, the 4th category are students of the tertiary institutions and the University of the Gambia who don't have the practical knowledge of these areas that we are providing. There's no doubt that Gambia, a lot of the institutions teach courses that are only providing theory, including the university. The last time we checked, they don't have any media house of their own or any, whether it's a radio, a newspaper, or a television studio. Now they are coming up. There is a lot of development and things that are happening. But the last time I checked, and I want to be on record, so that if anybody is to debunk what I am saying, will know that I said from the last time I checked, which is until less than a year ago, they did not have any of these things. But I know there are plans and things going on. These are the people that we target. And when they come, we have a clear-cut understanding with them. The process starts with us putting out adverts there to tell people with different evidences of people who benefit from our platform that we are providing this internship training for them. And they come and pick up an application form. The application form, we used to give it out for free of charge. But there are so many people applying. At no single time, Jamie, do we have less than 100 applications sitting on our desk. We can only take 15 or 20. So to have people just coming in and out and picking up the application form, which is about 4 to 5 pages, it takes a lot of paper. It takes a lot of ink. As a result, we started charging $200 for this, and that is what they pay for it. After they pick up the application form, I mean, they are there always, the 100 or more applications. We go through a shortlisting process. We shortlist, invite those people for interviews. Just yesterday, this time, I had an interview, invite them for an interview. After the interview is done, we shortlist those finalists that we are taking. And of course, from then on, the process lasts 1 year. And during their interview and their orientation, which our lawyer is usually present at to actually break down all of these things, we talk to them and they sign documents. We tell them the internship is 1 year. You are not expected to pay a dime, and we don't pay you a single butut either. You are responsible for your transport back and forth to the institution when you are coming. But I can tell you, we are providing anywhere from $100 to $2,000 to interns every month, depending on several reasons. Their dedication, commitment, willingness to learn, respect for authority, projects they've worked on, and different things. If you are coming for only 1 day a week, you end up not getting anything. If you are coming for 1 day a week just for 1 hour, it's different from, and you live in Bara or you live somewhere else, it's left to you. We provide bikes for interns who live in Bakau, who live in Telinding, who live in Sukuta, and different places who cannot afford to pay their own fares to come to these places. So we provide a lot of resources and incentives for these young people, but they are not paid a dime. I have hired people as early as 2 months into their internship. We have hired people several months into their internship, and we have hired people a year into their internship, and there are people we never hired because they just are not, we don't feel, either we did not have an opening or they did not meet the our requirement to hire them. but we provide them with a certificate at the end of their training. This last April on Easter Day, we were supposed to have a graduation for the couple of badges that were there. Unfortunately, it did not happen because of the COVID. But there are a lot of incentives that we have for these young people while they're there and having this training. Not only do we train them on the areas that they want to, but we have a slogan called Ham Hamle, each one teach one, and input determines output. Except for Samba, who is the country coordinator, everybody else in that institution was an intern, starting from her assistant Ida Kebe to the last person. And these are people who were hired and they are going through promotion. Just this last Monday, we promoted one of them, Isa Pujalo, from an intern supervisor to now a manager with a salary increase and everything. And we just confirmed that this last Monday. So there are a lot that are happening, and that doesn't mean we don't have challenges, but thank you.
Got you. Okay. Then what's your take to the argument that you use these interns for coverage and news gathering in the desire to, spend less and gain more?
I disagree with that because I just told you I can mention over 20 young people who are employed by Gambian talent, who in a million years would never have thought of getting to where they are today or be where they are. Ibrahima Jambang, Mariam Sise, Sira Jaju are all with Block TV right now. Almost everything they know when it comes to this and the practicals are provided for them by Gambian talent. Some of these people during our interviews will tell me that they have been interns or try to intern at other places. The only thing they do is send them the Gentleman newspaper, the Gentleman Deo, the Gentleman Lele. Them coming to Gambian talent, we give them the practical experience. We allow them to make mistakes on our platform, and they grow into it. These are people who were not seen on the screens anywhere. They should learn Yemen Media House, what is the higher. Maria Tussar was in the newsroom of QTV. Thanks to the internship at Gambian Talents. These are people, I can send you documentaries in which you hear their own testimonies. You have Kadi Swane right now, who is at Mamos TV, who just left a couple of months ago. The training she had from scratch, she had from Gambian Talents. Inside Gambian Talents, I mentioned Ida Kebe, who is the number 2, the deputy country coordinator, and of course, the creative director, who is a full-time employee, came in as an intern and now employed full-time. Isa Pujalo, I just told you, we just got promoted, was an intern. Binta Sise, our accountant, came in as an intern, a journalism intern, and she has little background in accounting. When my accountant at the time, Guinjai, quit, we had interviewed a couple of people, outsiders. When Binta expressed interest in this, even though we have interviewed other outsiders who were interested in the position, we gave her this opportunity and walked her through, and she has learned, and she is doing wonderful. She came in as an intern. Salimatu Bangura, Ibrahim Sanyang, Ibu Mketa that I told you was he's the one that was involved with the police a few months ago. These are people who probably did not finish school, or they finished school and they were sitting home and didn't have anything doing, or they never had any experience or traveled through the back way. Sheikh Fall is doing a show about immigration. Yusuf Andur lived in Bara. He went through the back way and came back. These young people got traumatized. We give them a platform. The Ghetto Live show is getting very popular on Gambian Talents, whoever follows it. The young man doing the Ghetto Live show is somebody who returned from the back way. So what would you call this? Just a couple of days, I have meetings with them. We have meetings every Tuesday or Wednesday. This last Wednesday, in our meeting, he told us that a media chief in Gambia tweeted him, sent him a message on Twitter, telling him how he's following his show. So I can comfortably tell you that we hire over 20 young people, and we have several young people who are hired by other media houses. Right now, this is on record. You are seeing them doing shows there or serving as videographers, either doing camera work or editing. I have mentioned these names. Contact those media houses and find out if what I'm saying is true or not. No matter what the case is, these are people who would never have been given this opportunity. And we have people who also are running their own businesses right now. Mohammed Khan is a typical example. He was a rapper passionate about rap, passionate about music, wants to be able to do music videos and a lot of things, came on board, had training with Gambian talents. Right now, he's producing music videos and movies for several institutions or several individuals and groups in the country. These are things that we are very proud of. Do we have some who will drop along the way? Yes, we do fire some along the way, and some will quit along the way before they finish it. But everything is very legit and clear. For me to have the audacity and the guts to sit here and say it is because it is happening, and this is something we are very proud of. And I will say that it is complete false and misrepresentative of the reality at Gambian talents. And there are people that are very successful there who are still there, and some who are still undergoing their training, and some who are actually at other institutions, and some who are running their own businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. And talking about, the Gambia TV industry, what would you like to see, or what would be that one thing you would like to see change that is not available currently in our industry?
For us to be independent and go for human interest stories. From my assessment, a lot of Gambian media houses are only doing PR. Partly, I will not blame them because I'm in the shoe. And which shoe am I talking about here? Darling, you having an institution established, you having rent to pay and several overheads, and you are not making anything. A lot of times, institutions come and give us money. And as a result, we don't want to lose that paycheck.
Right.
It gets a lot of us to be quiet. If information comes about any of those institutions that are giving us paychecks, we don't want to talk about them. We don't want to investigate them. Or we even come and try to defend this. When there could be evidence that this particular institution is victimizing the people, or is not doing something in the interest of the people. Or if they don't do that, so not because somebody is giving them a check. You have something that is a burning issue that's affecting the country that Gambians need to know about. Instead of going for those coverages, you have an institution that pays you, and they have some PR work to do. Whether they are going to do a presentation, a skill building, or something that is geared towards giving them more profit. Nobody human interest story put them cover the PR event for these people. This is very unfortunate for our colleagues in the media. A lot of them would ask, how is Pa Ousman doing this? Nothing recorded. Degula, I have mentioned here earlier, and I am confident to say it and proud of it. Do I want TAF to sponsor me? Yes. Do I want him to provide to fund Gambian talents or support the internship? Yes. But if he would have to condition me to say, change your name and I will sponsor you, I will not take that. And several people and institutions may want to be at that same light. I have seen media houses that do PR for media firms, for institutions like top mobile companies or other institutions, private companies, who are actually real estate companies and others, who are actually probably in the business of deceiving Gambians or taking advantage of Gambians or providing a service that Gambians are not satisfied with. And instead of they will try to instead defend these people's position or whatsoever. It's unfortunate. And that's one thing I would want to see change. And I would want us to be allowed to do more our work in a more independent way. I would want us to have access to information where when we go to the public places to request information, it will be given to us. It will be a law that will empower us to be able to get information and not actually just people sitting on information because they don't feel like giving it, or because they are frustrated, or because they know if it comes out, it will end up having to look bad on them or whatsoever. In a nutshell, these are some of the things. And for you get critical and independent, those of us in it, and go for these human interest stories, to go the length and breadth of the country to look for stuff and not be Greater Banjul area or combo journalists. Bantanga jogi, boga nga ñu génné bantang ci news bi. Farafenye la jogi, boga na di gis Farafenye ci news bi and different things. And right now, as we speak, on the Gambian Talents platform, the Wakir by show that is produced by people in Farafenye. Every month now we go to Farafenye to do coverage of Farafenye, and we are trying to extend that to different parts of the country where we will be going and showcasing the things. Even though I'm in capacity, but we will be going to different parts of the country to actually showcase things that are happening in those places where we will take 1 week or 2 weeks to go and this thing. And with the little resources we have, I support my team to do that. I have a lot of young people who are passionate and willing to learn and explore, and this is another opportunity for them to actually get to see, because one like Ida Kebe Mustajala Bara, a month ago, she went to the 4 corners of the country to do the documentary on the borders, and that was the first time she traveled. Thank you.
As we're getting closer to the end of this interview, I know I have taken so much of your time. Ousman, do you consider yourself a journalist?
Yes, I do, because I am practicing and following the ethics and the rules of engagement and everything that I know journalism asks for. I present programs, I investigate content, and I am doing everything that journalists do. So why wouldn't I consider myself a journalist? Because I am doing things that journalists do. I am presenting programs, I am covering events. You know that, whether here in America or I travel to different places and I do coverages of events. What does journalists do besides going to cover events and presenting programs and analyzing and stuff? And I am doing this. Yes, I consider myself a journalist.
And we have seen you, your online presence, your online putting the news out there, doing a lot of things. How do you balance family life and your life as a journalist? It can be very hectic.
That's a very hectic one. If it is my immediate family, I try my best to give them the time that they need. Obviously, the work can be very hectic. Right now that I'm having this interview with you, I am home. I have to talk to my family, and they understand where I am, and you would not hear a lot of noise. They know the type of work that he does, or their spouse do, and they need to be able to give me that support if they love me, because I give them the support that they need in the things that they are passionate about. And family yep loolu la rek ngeen jàppale wante ku nekk ci lim buga def pour ngeen jàppale wante si. So it got to a point that my family actually understand the type of work that I do. Thank God that I have a spouse who would not per se interfere for the most part with what I do. It can be a very controversial. I'm in a work or in a field that is very controversial. I have a lot of things. I will do things in which people will even attack them, people will touch them, people will insult them. This, I am having more challenge with this with my extended family than my immediate family, honestly, because my immediate family understand where I am and are not that much moved. But my extended family, my siblings, and other people that are involved are the ones who have this problem, because people will call, people will tell them, oh, this Nyendi, why is Pa Ousman doing this? They are insulting him, they are calling him this name, that name. My mom goes through the same challenge as well, where people will call her, okay, nyung la saga, nyung la wax li, nyung la wax lele, lan moo tax ñu wara def li. When people disagree with me, when people don't like what I do, ñun Gambians, we are, it's unfortunate, we resort to fighting, we resort to insulting, we resort to fabricating, we resort to lying against somebody because we disagree with them, because we don't like them, because they are doing something. Instead of us fighting each other with ideas and ideologies and facts, we resort to this. And I am a victim of it. I understand it fully, and I am prepared for it. And I prepare my family. My mom, typical example, she will pray for me, a lot of good things, for me to become one of the most successful people, for me to become a leader, for me to become a responsible person. And I would give her reference of people who are in these positions and what they are told, and that I cannot be any exception. If you ask me to quit this, you're asking me to quit the whole thing. So my family understands, and I actually support them. I spend time with my kids, if you see, and my family, if you see, I post these pictures occasionally. I post 25% of what I do with my family. Just last week, of course, my kids were having their Dara and Tari,
I mean, if you watch my page, you will see that I shared that. This weekend we might be going on a trip. We want to go on a family trip this weekend. Hopefully, Mangi, I'm a few things you have I need to sort out. I mean, basically, I am doing most of what I can to take care of them. Dimba rek laa jógee yóbbu suma xale ci school bi pour ñu dem jëli seen supplies and some of the things that needed to be done there. Right before I came on air, I was helping my daughter actually to fix her school work. When we just started, we were having some challenges with the internet. I had to fix that, of course, and get her to get on her class and stuff. So I am trying. I'm not perfect, but I am trying to be a responsible family person. The top percent tanker.
No, you jital nañ la. Does Ousman have any last words for our viewers out there, or advice, or any last word that you will have before we close this interview?
Just what I said a few minutes ago, which has to do with us becoming a critical minded country, a serious minded country. In my analysis, I would say Gambia, we are not in prime time. We are behind the whole world, I can say, in a lot of things, probably everything. Lutah, duñuy gestu. We need to be critical minded. We need to seek knowledge. We need to appreciate each other. Gambia is that one country where we barely celebrate anybody. When people are doing right, when people are doing good, we are always trying to see how we can destroy them, how we can break them, how we can damage them, instead of encouraging them, instead of supporting them, instead of showing them. And this starts in Gambia, and it's more unfortunate with those of us in the diaspora. When we see somebody doing something good, and we want to do the same thing, instead of new set of nakalain ko ame, or approaching the person, we try to see nakalanyo gore yelami wala ñu jëm ci xappo and that is not okay. A lot of us want to be experts in every field. Mangé ñaan Gambian si to drop it. Ku ne nañ ko bayé lu mom. Journalists, let's leave them to be journalists. Let's leave the doctors to be doctors. Let's leave the pilots to be pilots. Let's leave the security to be security. Ku nekk lu mun lu mom nañ ko ko bayé. Te ñu celebrate ko jital ko ci ñu bay di jital di fakastal. We barely succeed in anything. We celebrate people only when they are celebrated by the followers. And it is very important that we take note and take care of this. Ñu wàññi waxtu bari bi xam ne there is time for everything. We politicize everything in Gambia, and that is why we need to put the politics aside when politics passes. Su jamono politics ñëwee ñu politicize ñu politique based on facts. Ku nekk sànnil karta ki nga bëgg sànnil based on programs and principles that they have, based on li nga foog ne loolu la ñoo defar réew mi, and not based on tribe, religion, or anything. We are in the era of coronavirus. I want to encourage everybody to know that coronavirus is real. It still exists everywhere around the world, and it is more serious and more dangerous with those underlying conditions. And they need to be able, and we need to be able to protect ourselves and our families and the entire community from coronavirus. Let's leave the experts to do their jobs. Let's observe the social distancing. Let's observe hand washing and avoid shaking hands and gatherings and all of this, and any other guidelines that our experts, whether at local level or global level, are telling us. This is where I want to end. Thank you to you, Jeme. Thank you to your viewers. Thank you to my family for the support that they continue to give me for what I am doing. Thank you to my staff and team and in the Gambia and around the world. I apologize for any inconvenience. Kaddu gi li ci rafet yàlla la rek, lu ci ñaaw ci ñun la, njaam su xeebu la rek. Pa Ousman Joof toogoon fii di wécc suma xalaat rek ak suma pol bu jomba ñaawat bi nag doon ma laaj rek ma wax ko li ma xam rek nag rek.
maa ngi booli cere bi nag.
Bul wax dara. Jërëjëf.
Kon jàmm ak xéewal, kontaan naa tey moom suma jàmm bi laa amoon ci show bi, kon kontaan naa trop. Maa ngi jël si booli cere bi.
Bul wax dara Jéeme, loolu duñu boole, soo paree rek laa la wax ni ne ko loolu duñu boole ah. Thank you very much.
D'accord. Thank you so much.
Jërëjëf.
Okay. That was Pa Ousman Joof, the owner and founder of Gambia Talents Promotion. Doing wonders on his platform. So we were so honored. We are very honored to have him on the show. Out of his busy schedule, he took time to come to the Talk to Lady show today to share his experience. And hopefully you get inspired by his story. He has gone through a lot in life, but he's still standing strong. We will just close the interview for now. And until I come your way again, this is your host of the Talk to Lady show, Lady Ba, and you take care. Bye for now.
We often admire people's successes, but never take the time to explore their challenges. Talk to Lady brings out the inside stories of the peaks and valleys of our daily struggles. A weekly show that features people and stories from all walks of life.
I probably don't look like I chopped cotton or picked cotton, but I did. And now this is a $500,000 probably home, up to $500,000 home.
You'll hear success stories from rags to riches that will inspire you to aspire to be great.